You're now listening to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. Straightforward, no nonsense business advice. Completely unfiltered. Grow your business. Grow your life. Now, here's your host, Brian Fullerton.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Welcome to another episode of the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast. It's your host, Brian Fullerton here, hanging out with you guys. And guys, we have a super special treat here in the Aquascape back construction office. We have none other than Crux Lon here hanging out with us. What's up, brother?
Oh, man, we're having so much fun over here.
Welcome to the show.
Oh, thank you, man.
It's funny, Greg Whitstock was walking around yesterday, and he's like, you know Crux Lon, he's going to be here tomorrow. I said, I know Crux from Facebook, but we've never met.
No. I think I saw you at GIE one time.
I was going to say, I think GIE once, and you were hanging with Chant and those guys.
Yeah, all the time, yep.
Yeah, and so this is really, really cool to have you on the show, man. Welcome to the jungle.
Oh, no. Thank you.
You were like, well, what are we going to talk about? I said, just kick it. We got about 15 minutes, and you got to get running, actually. So we're just going to do a quick podcast here. We're actually in the back construction room over at Aquascape. So we're about 2 hours away from Chris Siewing, who's going to be revealing his big pond outdoor living space that he's been putting together for the last 5 days. And this thing is turning out beautiful.
Oh, yeah. I think this is one of the best.
Think so?
Oh, yeah. I have been here for the last two, and I have seen the other ones, but I believe this is the best one.
It looks really nice. What would you call this? Like an outdoor, like kind of mountainy range? Like
I'm not really into ponds. As you guys know, I'm more into hardscapes, but whatever they did over there is awesome.
Well, and then you're going to be doing a project here next week.
Yeah,
that's going to be cool. What do you call what you put together? Like formal, you said?
It's going to be more like a modern look.
Modern look.
And we're going to incorporate water and Aquascape products into it. So it's going to be awesome.
I love your stuff on Facebook, bro.
Yeah.
Like, it's funny because Greg's like, do you know if this guy Crux Lon? I go, I see him on Facebook all day. We were talking about the success of your Facebook pages, and you got it going on, man.
Yeah. I just reached almost 10,000 followers, which is a lot,
Yeah.
For me.
More than me. I suck at Facebook. So that's awesome. Well, let's do this really quick. I want to just kind of break it down and hear a little bit more about your story. You got what are you, Hispanic background? Or a Hispanic?
Mexican.
Yeah, my people here. I love it, dude. Well, and we got a lot of guys that listen to the show from all over the country, right? And I love getting more ethnicity, more minorities on the show. We got to just, it's all, pasty white boys, you know what I mean? So let's get some Hispanic dudes on the show. So your background, where do you live? Where are you at? How long you been in business, and what's going on?
Well, I came to the States when I was 14 years old.
Yeah.
I'm 36 now, so I have been here in the States for 20 plus years.
Yeah.
I started my business back in 2005.
2005?
So I have been doing this for 17 years now.
Yeah. That's awesome.
Years, yeah. So
that's awesome. So did you get started mowing grass or just right into hardscaping?
Straight hardscapes. When I worked for another company before I started my business, so I have some knowledge of doing hardscapes. But when I first started, it was just basic hardscapes, a 20 by 20 patio. But the last 3-4 years, we have been doing these incredible outdoor living spaces. So.
Yeah. What got you so passionate about the outdoor, spaces? Why didn't you go work for somebody else? Why didn't you go to college? What was the passion to going into doing lawn care, landscaping, hardscaping?
Well, I think since I work for another company and I see a market on that, I was like, I'm going to start my own thing.
Yeah.
And that's how I started, I did just simple patios for a lot of years, and it was good, money was okay.
Yeah.
But once I started doing these outdoor living spaces, I just fell in love with it.
And you do great work.
Yeah,
so what's the passion behind it? Like the creativity, the expression?
I think it's the challenge. Like every job has a challenge.
Okay.
Like if you have seen my work, every job is different, and we go from porcelain tile to concrete to wood, and it's just like we use all the different materials, and then when the job is complete, you're like, wow, I really did that.
Yeah.
And that's the best part. And then when we finish the jobs, like the clients almost want to hug me and like, man, and kiss me and all that. And, they're so happy with
your family.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, what's some of the stuff that you love doing the most? Like fireplaces? Do you like doing outdoor kitchens, or what's some of the stuff that you guys are known for?
We are getting known for like modern look outdoor living spaces with concrete and paver combination.
Okay.
A lot of companies here in Chicago, all they do is just pavers or just concrete.
Okay.
We do both.
Yeah.
And then we do these Mexican pebbles between the concrete. We do like these steppers.
Yeah.
So it's kind of like California look.
Yeah, I saw that. Is that the design we were looking at that you were showing me that you're going to do next week?
Yes. Yep.
That's awesome. And then incorporating the water could just be even that much cooler.
Oh, yeah.
Because everybody loves the sound, the visual, it just looks really, really cool. Some of the projects that you're doing, probably 10, 20, 30,000 bucks. Do you ever feel like you have any, customers that are apprehensive about spending that much money? Like that's something that I know a lot of guys that do landscaping or hardscaping always talk about is sometimes it's hard to find customers that want to spend 20, 30, 50,000 bucks. So how do you guys overcome any of that?
Well, I think we already passed the level.
Okay.
The level that I'm working right now, I'm dealing with like a different clients.
Oh, okay.
That, they can spend 50, 100 or more than that in a project.
I like that.
Every job we touch is at least 40, 50 grand and up.
Okay.
How many? We have done smaller jobs, but once you start dealing with other kitchens, fireplaces, and all lighting, and all that, it's not a $10,000 job.
No, not at all. How many jobs do you guys do a year?
We don't do many anymore.
Yeah.
Last year we probably did like 20, but they were like big jobs,
That's still awesome, dude.
I mean, I'm not talking about like huge jobs, but I'm talking about big money jobs because it's just a lot of things going on.
Yeah. Well, I talked to Sean Collingsgrew over in the East Coast. I think he's in Jersey. And same thing. They only do like a dozen jobs a year, but they're like $50,000, $60,000 jobs. And he's there for a month, or 2-3 weeks at least. Yeah. And I love what you guys do with the hardscaping, the landscaping. You guys do a great job. And you with Chant, you and Chant are always hanging out 2 peas in a pod.
Yeah.
You guys were going to do actually a live training event. We were talking about it. It unfortunately got rescheduled. So that might be something that comes later this year, maybe into next year. But you have a passion for helping other people now too.
Oh yeah.
Talk about that for a minute, because you get the Facebook, the social media. You got it going on.
I think a lot of people is still like old school. Mm-hmm. They don't want to let people know how they run their business or how they do things. I'm not like that.
Yeah.
It's just a lot of work for everybody. So I'm always posting not just pictures of what I do, but I'm posting information, how I did it, what I use and all that. And believe it, I got all these private messages all the time. Hey, thank you so much. And all that. I wish somebody will teach me, or like back in the day when I started, it would be a completely different thing now.
Yeah.
But,
I feel you. Hey, same thing with cutting grass. As simple as it is cutting grass, nobody taught me how to cut grass 15 years ago. And now we got the Entrepreneur Academy and YouTube and all this other mess. But it's like, man, I just wish when I was 19, 20, 21, somebody would hold my hand and teach me the right way to do it.
Yeah.
Do you think working for the other guy or the other company before, did that really help you get your feet established into doing hardscaping? Like, was that like education helpful, or was it kind of just a dead end job?
Well, I think it was good because I basically learned the basics of doing patio, right?
Yeah.
But I still have a hard time when I first start talking to clients, how to get jobs and things like that.
Yeah.
Of course, after all these years, I have no problem with that,
Yeah.
I have good knowledge of how to get jobs and closing jobs and things like that. So.
Absolutely, man. Hey, talk to my Hispanic friends out there, okay? You're Hispanic, right?
Yep.
You're kicking butt. Can you speak Spanish too, obviously?
Yeah, I can speak Spanish.
So like...
what do you want me to say?
Yo quiero Taco Bell.
See, guys, everybody knows me as the Taco Boy too because I love tacos, right?
Do you really? Well, dude, you and I are going to be best friends. You don't get a body like this. I'm holding my little baby belly right now. Surprisingly, Liz and I
let me say something in Spanish for the Hispanic listenings. Para adelante y para adelante. That means just move forward and push forward.
Push forward. I like that. How do you say that again? Para adelante?
Para adelante.
Para adelante.
Yeah.
Look at that. I'm bilingual now. You know what I'm saying, Dave? We got David over here. He's another hardscaper and construction guy. And honestly, I get a lot of guys that reach out to me that are Hispanic, from, all over the country, right? And they work for somebody else, or they want to start their own thing. And my heart goes out to them too, because I don't know Spanish. There's sometimes language barriers, and I'm always trying to help those guys as much as I can, And some people think that like, certain groups or cultures or different ages are undercutting people, and I'm like, that's not the case. In fact, a lot of the guys that work back at home that are Hispanic outwork everybody I know. Like, they're some of the hardest working dudes I know. So I have the utmost respect for like Mexican guys, Hispanic guys. You guys crush it. What do you think is some things that really helped you succeed being a minority-owned business? I mean, you're in Chicagoland area. It's a tough market. Any words of advice that you can give the younger guys that are 18, 19, 20, whether they're in California to Florida, right? Any piece of advice you can give those guys?
Well, I think when you first start your business, don't go too big. Just start with the basics till you get better and better, and eventually better jobs will come and all that. You need to have some type of experience. I see some guys that just want to go big in the first year, which it's
It's tough.
It's tough.
What about, let me ask you this. The question I get the most from my Hispanic friends via email is like pricing. And I feel like they get undercut more than anybody. And sometimes they're pricing themselves too low. So how can they get their prices up? How can they charge more? Is there anything that has helped you? Because you said you're not dealing with these $10,000, $20,000 jobs anymore. You're doing $40,000, $50,000 jobs.
At first, when you start your business, of course, you got to have fair prices. Because if you're competing with prices against those well-known companies, you're not going to get nothing because, you got to prove yourself.
Yep.
So when I first started, maybe I was the cheapest guy,
Yeah.
But you get to the point that you already proved that you do woodwork.
Yes.
And now you can charge what you had to charge.
Yes.
And then once you start getting into like high-end stuff, then you can charge basically anything you want because sometimes you don't even have competition. You know?
Yeah. Well, because you got a portfolio.
But you always have to do woodwork, no matter what. Because if because of you went cheap and charge cheap for the job and you're going to do shitty work, just do the best you can every time.
I love it, man. I love it. This is really good stuff. This is really helpful. I want to see these guys out there succeed in lawn care, landscaping. And again, we're here at Aquascape and they're doing this huge hardscaping outdoor living space with Crux Siewing, Nature's Recreation, just doing an amazing job. We're going to get him on the show here in a minute. But while you were here, I had to say hey to Cruz because Greg Woodstock's like, do you know Cruz? I go, I know of Cruz. We've talked on Instagram and whatnot, but I'm like, he hasn't been on the podcast. We haven't crossed paths since 3 years ago at GIE.
Yeah.
So it's good to see you, man. Well, let's just do this really quick. Open mic, a quick little podcast episode here today. But anything you want to leave these guys or any encouraging words or whatever you got while we're here?
I don't know, guys. Just keep pushing forward. I mean, there's going to be days that you're going to get tired of doing the same thing every day or as a business owner, it's not easy. You deal with employees, breaking equipment and all that kind of stuff. It's just keep pushing forward.
Yeah. Para adelante? What was it?
Para adelante.
Para adelante.
Yeah.
Keep pushing forward.
Yep.
I like it, man. That's a great attitude. That's a great life philosophy right there. Well, hey, thanks so much for being on the show. If these guys want to follow you and keep up with you, where can they find you?
Anywhere, basically. Any social media. So they got to search Crux Lon.
Crux Lon.
Yep.
So it's CRUX, but you pronounce it Cruz.
You can pronounce it Crux.
Cruz?
Lon.
Crux Lon.
Yeah.
It's somewhere CRUX.
Yeah.
So you're all over Facebook and it was actually funny 2 days ago. I'm like, how do you say his name? Like actually. And people are like Crux.
Yeah.
So Crux Lon.
Yeah, Crux Lon. Yeah.
Whatever, dude.
Yeah, you can call me Cruz.
I'm going to call you Cruz. Can I call you Cruz?
Yeah, it's fine.
If people see IGI, can they say Cruz?
Yeah.
Because we don't know in white boy English how to say X. You know what I mean?
No, it's fine.
So, all right, I love it. Well, guys, we'll wrap it up right here. This is my friend Cruz, and we're going to get him back on the show. He's a great dude, and he's literally zipping out of here. They just came up for a couple of days to see the big reveal of this final week 7 design up here at Aquascape. And I said, hey, before you go, I want to get you on the podcast. You're a great dude, and you're a friend of Chant, and if you're a friend of Chant, you're a friend of mine. I love Chant and Amy. They're great people.
Oh, yeah.
And if you guys aren't following Cruz here on Instagram and Facebook, check him out. He does some of the most beautiful hardscaping and landscaping that I've ever seen. And I'm really, really excited about what he's got going on and this next come up of people that are trying to help grow the industry. And when you do have your live training event coming up, make sure you guys check him out on Facebook. And whether it's this summer or into 2022, whenever the pandemic thing decides to have an end, we'll hopefully have your live event. It'll be a really good time.
Oh, yeah.
All right, brother. Well, cool. Thanks so much for being on the show.
Hello, it's Marty, the producer, the audio engineer, the guy that does the things Brian doesn't want to do himself. Play to your strengths, right? It's only halftime, so I hope you can stick around. Next on Fullerton Unfiltered, Brian interviews Crux Siewing from St. Louis, Missouri. He's with Nature's Recreations. Hey, quick question. Have you watched the productivity and profitability hacks videos over at lawnpreneuracademy.com? Now, these videos cover 8 practical strategies that you can implement immediately to get tangible results with your lawn and landscape business. By the end of the program, you're going to have a clear idea of what it takes to grow a lawn care business, what it takes to maintain the business you've developed. Basically, it's Brian's 8 best strategies, and for only $49, you get instant access to the videos. And while you're at launchpreneuracademy.com, look around. See if it's time to get all in with the whole ball of wax promotion, which allows you to get everything. And that promotion is going to end at the end of the month. Ballard Innovative Products is a full line of gear for the lawn and landscape professional. From mower gear, safety gear, trailer racks, equipment securement, equipment servicing tools, aerators, mower blades, X-blades, aluminum baggers, and much more to make you efficient, effective, safe, and profitable in the field. Check out Ballard-Inc.com to help dominate and elevate your business. Ballard Innovative Products. With over 20 years of selling accessories and 30 years in the business, we're sure that we've got something you can't live without. We appreciate the support and look forward to serving you this season. Stay safe and keep grinding, friends. And don't forget to use Brian's 10 to save 10% at Ballard-Inc.com.
Hey guys, Paul Jameson here, the author of Cut That Grass and Make That Cash. You're not listening to no raggedy podcast. You're listening to a great podcast. It's all about lawns, lessons, and life. It's the Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
I'm actually sitting just across here from Chris Siewing here with Nature's Recreation, which is a outdoor landscape hardscape company based out of
St. Louis, Missouri.
St. Louis, Missouri in the house. So Chris, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Have you ever done a podcast before?
This is my first, actually.
This is your first one. You're sitting back, Cool Hand Luke, man, and this is gonna be a fun time. We're actually here still live at Aquascape, and that is with Greg Whitstock, the pond guy. And you are week 7 of 7 on this like epic. Is this like a crescendo? Like, does it get bigger here with like the magnanimity of the project, or what?
Not that I know of. It was just every artist had their week, and we just came in, did our stuff.
Yeah.
And everybody kind of said that we ended up being the bigger, crazier design, but I didn't plan it that way. So, no, not really.
But you planned this, and you didn't think it would be like this over the top?
I knew the design was going to be over the top, but I didn't watch any of the other artists' videos yet, because I was like, I don't want to get inspired or take any of their ideas. I was just like, I set my mind on this is what I'm doing. Yeah. And I just let it roll, and then now I'm going to go back and watch everybody's stuff.
Dude, it's funny because Greg was sending me all these videos. He's like, you got to check these guys out. This is what we're all doing. I'm trying to get the lay of the land because what do I know? Yeah. I'm flying in here for 2 days and kind of in and out. But I was like, well, do you want me to come in on like Monday, Tuesday, or like, Thursday, Friday? He goes, well, on Sunday, Monday, so we have this indoor-outdoor sandbox. And so if you guys have ever been to Aquascape, they have this huge sand pit where you learn how to do water features and pondless waterfalls and whatever, all this other fun pond stuff. Yeah. It's everything water here. It's so much fun. So if you guys are mowing guys, I get it, but there's a lot of landscape guys that listen to the show too, right? And if you ever haven't seen Greg Whitstock's stuff on Instagram and Facebook, you should check it out. It's actually pretty cool. So they have this, because of COVID, they put this whole sandbox, they made it times 10. Greg built this whole facade, back of a house with like a real deck and a sliding door wall and this cool shed. And so the rest of it's though basically a sandbox. And so it's a flat, block of outdoor spot that you get to come in and put your own design on. And you just built this Montana, Utah looking crazy rock. If you guys haven't seen the video on YouTube by now, it's absolutely insane. So what would you call this? Is this like a backyard patio, living space?
Yeah, so it'd be a backyard living space or an outdoor living area. Yeah. We tend to try to...
It's above my pay grade if you can't tell. I have no idea how to describe it. It's incredible.
Well, it's something that most people are not familiar with, especially with the water. Yeah. The original design with the sandbox was a training facility. So they had a much smaller one. Yes. Over, in a different area. And they would use it for in-house training or at the pandemonium events. They'd have, contractors that have never built things come in. Right. And then he got this idea, let's take it to the next level. Yeah. And let's let, the artist of the year come in and do something crazy, and we'll vlog it and put it out there. Yeah. So to us, it was kind of like a perpetual, home show. Yeah. That is out there forever. We used to do home shows all the time for many, many years. And it was literally just like this. Right. But once it was done, it was done. Right. The video stuff wasn't where it was or is now. Sure. So this is great. I only do it once and it can be out there for infinity. Absolutely. And this is something that you could also, like you said, add to your portfolio or share on social media for your customers. And so you were, what do they call it? Artist of the Year? Artist of the Year. In 2012. 2012. And it's crazy to see that you freaking built this. Again, you guys I'm not doing this any justice. I'm trying, Chris, to sell this. You guys got to go to YouTube, watch this video that we did. What's the size lot? It's like a 40 by... So the space between the house facade and the man cave she shed is 40 by 30.
That's it.
That's it. And it looks huge.
It does.
After we shoved all that stuff in there, you would think it'd be smaller.
Yeah.
But by dividing those rooms in different spaces, it actually makes the space feel bigger because you've got different little nooks and rooms that you can go and hang out in.
And the different depth too. Like one's a down low, what would you call it, like outdoor fire pit?
Yeah, we did a sunken patio with a fire pit as a centerpiece. And then immediately behind that is like literally a 12-foot wall.
Yeah, sure. Yeah.
To get us up to make that feel like you're almost in a recessed cavern of sorts.
Yeah.
And then on the other side of that, we use that berm to create the tall waterfall.
It's a huge waterfall.
Yeah,
like
huge.
4 layers or whatever, or levels. Like it's like, and Greg's like, that's a whatever fall. This is a whatever type of fall. I'm like, sure it is, dude. Like I don't know or aquascape, all these different terms, but it's so cool. It's so cool to see the, so there's a pond out front with the koi fish in.
Yep.
And I was learning all about koi fish this morning, right?
Yeah.
We were feeding them and Greg's like, stick your finger in there. I'm like, I'm not sticking my finger in some random fish tank. And he's like, stop being a baby. And I'm like, so I was feeding him the little dried out Cheetos.
Yeah.
I don't know what that is, but
Koi crunchies.
Koi crunchies?
Yeah.
So you know all this
That's
stuff.
what they're called.
Well, one thing I want to do is talk to you for a few minutes. A lot of these guys that are listening in, we're lawn care guys, landscaper guys. I'm trying to get all the time different people on the show. I try to get CEOs of companies, corporate people, from the companies. We try to get $1 million contractors, guys running $50,000 a year businesses, 15-year-old kids on the show that run $10,000 a year, right? We have this whole spectrum. And one thing that I found really unique and interesting with your story that Greg had told me about was you had started cutting grass, in your 20s or whatever, and came to Aquascape back in like 2001, 2002.
02 was my first real experience hands-on at a build-upon where the guys came into my town and I went and saw it.
Okay. So they were over by you.
Yeah.
Oh, okay. So they came to you guys.
They used to go out on the road and do these, what they call build-upon days.
Yep.
And him and, various aquascapers would come in.
Yeah.
Contractors would learn, pay to watch this happen and actually get to experience it and do it in person.
Yeah.
And that my first one of those was in 2002.
So what did you see on that day? Because it was a huge fork in the road, it looks like, for your business.
Absolutely. So I'm an Eagle Scout. I grew up hiking and camping in the woods. I love nature.
Yeah.
And I, like you said, started out mowing and blowing just like a lot of people. I actually started my business when I was 10. Just cutting grass in the neighborhood to make some money. And then it just blew from there.
Yeah.
But there was something about, I think it was the passion of Brian Helfrich's explanation of going into how it was. And the fact that it looked like I bought into the system almost immediately because I was like, I can do this, and it really hit home with me seeing a successful system come, into a real thing in a day. I'm like, that's great. Yeah. Because most of the time, especially before I found out about Aquascape, everybody that talked about ponds were like, oh, you don't want those. And I'm thinking of the plastic home to you, inserts that are just, a nightmare. Yeah. This thing was like real. I mean, we're setting real boulders. We've got a functioning system. Yeah. I'm like, that is awesome. Yeah. The next year I came up to Chicago. I did my first pandemonium, what they called it. Yeah. Where all of us get together, learn and do all these different training seminars and hands-on things. And I was like, I'm hooked. And I actually, on the way home, we drove up, me and my wife, and I go, I'm going to sell the lawn business and get into just ponds. And she almost threw me out of the car on the way home. She's like, what? Yeah. And I was like, this is what I want to do.
Yeah, and your wife, Tara. Which, I'll be honest with you guys, yesterday, her and I had about an hour plus conversation outside of the shed because all of you guys were doing very intricate work. I had no idea what you're doing. And so like, she's like supervising and I'm like, supervising. So we just were talking and she's like, do you do this stuff too? I go, I'm more of a maintenance guy. I cut grass. And she goes, oh. And so I was like, yeah, I have no idea what your husband's doing now. Cause you guys had the foam guns and the faux moss and all this different stuff, or maybe real moss. And I have no idea what's going on. And I also know that like guys like Chris and Brian, the other construction guys, they're very particular. Yeah. So they're like moving a boulder this way. And if I move it this way, they're like, that doesn't look right. And I went, because I remember that 3 years ago, because I remember putting in a rock and like, that's incorrect. I go, isn't it like subjective to like, opinion? And Chris is a really cool dude. He's got this goatee thing and he goes, I just don't like how that looks. And he's like, get triggered, And he's like, I need to move that rock. And I'm like, but I like how it looks. He goes, I just don't like. He's like the angle, the elevation. It doesn't look natural. And I'm like, whatever, dude. But it just shows the passion that these guys have.
Yeah.
And I was just trying to learn the basics. But so Tara and I were just having this fun conversation. But she talked about that. She goes, yeah, Chris came back and he wanted to sell the lawn business, and we were selling it to an employee or a friend?
My ex-partner, actually.
Oh, okay, fair enough. So what was your thought? I'm going to go all in with landscaping and hardscaping and do ponds?
Yeah, so I loved the mowing because it was routine. It was a constant, cash flow.
Yeah.
I just started kind of getting, bored with it, and I wanted to do something different. I'm always, thinking of new ways to experiment with business and just my passion, it was based in art background. I loved to draw as a kid.
Yeah.
The landscaping to me was cool because I was designing and creating different stuff. So I kind of migrated into that, and the profits were a little bit better, but also the creativity for me.
Sure.
That was really what I liked about it. And then seeing this, it was like, this is what I did as a kid. I grew up in the creeks playing in the water. I'm like, I can do this and make this. So I've drawn all these inspirations from my landscape, my horticulture degree and my landscape design, my upbringing as a child. And I'm like, I'm just going to play in the water and throw rocks around,
And like you said, you were in the Boy Scouts, right?
Yeah.
So Eagle Scout. And so like you love nature anyway. You're already out doing half of that stuff anyway.
Absolutely.
And now you had this extension of a career based on your passions and your hobbies.
Yeah.
Isn't that like so awesome? And that's where I see a lot of guys that they get into landscaping. It's about the margins and it's about profit. But every single person I see here, they're like swimming in the pond, they're like enjoying it, and they're part of the lifestyle. Yeah. So let me ask you this, no right or wrong answer, just a fastball right down the middle so you can knock it out of the park. What's the aquascape lifestyle mean to you, right? What's the biggest thing that you take away from this whole, Greg, aquascape, this whole thing for your business?
So for me, it's multifaceted, but the biggest thing I think that sticks in most people's minds is the camaraderie and the family feel. He calls it his tribe. Yeah. But it really is. You do something that you have a passion for, and you meet other people that do that with you. Yeah. And you really just mesh and click. And the one thing I remember about the mowing industry, especially, and just general landscaping in St. Louis, maybe not everywhere, but it was very cliquish, and we didn't get together and really share ideas. You know, this is the first industry where your direct competitor, is teaching you how to do things better and to better yourself. And we are like, as a collective, we all say, let's raise our prices so we all benefit. Whereas a lot of times in the lawn industry, it was like, well, this guy's going to do it for $2 cheaper. And I'm like, we're killing ourselves. Why don't we get together?
Chris, I mean, I don't expect you to listen to the show. I think we just met, obviously, the last couple of days. And I'm like thoroughly impressed. I'm just sitting back, learning, listening, watching, observing. But that's been my passion the last 12 months. Well, last couple of years on YouTube, but the last 12 months with the podcast is really help these guys grow. Like and not that I'm the secret. In fact, I was probably one of those guys making those problems just 4 or 5 years ago. But then I got around some good people, the industry for lawn care, landscaping, and I'm like, dude, let's start moving this thing forward. Let's raise our prices. We're all doing great work. Why are we undercutting ourselves? And we had a guy on the show, his name is Troy Clogg, really big company over where I live. And he said something that, he goes, the customer isn't the one like dictating the price. He goes, it's us.
Absolutely.
He goes, the customer doesn't have the skill set. They don't have the experience or the expertise. They got the time or the money to spend on these projects, whether it's mowing all the way to, $100,000 landscape install.
Absolutely.
He goes, so why are we undercutting ourselves, versus all of us working together to raise the industry price? I thought it was genius. And I'm like, yeah, I mean, you couldn't find a more truism than that.
Yeah.
And so guys that are cutting for 25, why are you doing it for 22? Raise it to 35. And that's what all the guys in my like small little market, they're like, hey, what's your minimum this year? What's your minimum? We never had those conversations 3 years ago.
Yeah, that's awesome. I'm so glad to hear that, because I was always of the opinion that, when you cut your price to get a job, you're shooting your own foot. It's like, why would you do that when we could all raise the bar for everybody, and now we're at a better place and we can do, better things.
I love it. 100%. Hey, let me ask you this. The elephant in the room, I think I was asking you this. I said, what would this backyard patio go for as an install, like on a customer job site?
The ones that we do at these display events are a little hard to price because there's literally nothing there. It's a flat piece of ground.
Sure.
But we could do that in somebody's yard.
Yeah.
So I mean, everything that we've done with the landscaping and all the grade changes, I mean, that whole thing with really, I've created 2 different rooms and atmospheres.
Totally.
But if I had to do that in someone's yard, it'd be close to $200,000.
Holy crap. That's awesome. And what's some of the size projects that you guys do? Are they 20, 50, 100?
That's the beauty of this industry is we can do stuff as simple as a little fountainscape or a core drilled bubbling boulder.
Yeah.
That is, maybe 6,500 to start, all the way up to, $500,000 or multi-million-dollar projects. I mean, we can do whatever.
That's exciting.
Yeah, it's fun.
Well, last thing I'll ask you, because the first time on the show, so I don't want to take your whole time and the whole deal. And you got to get back to your baby project over here because we're going to do the grand reveal here in about another hour and a half. If you guys have not seen the video that we did on this whole project by now, check out the video on YouTube with Chris Siewing. What I was also going to say is that Greg right there calling? Where are you guys at? Somewhere in the back room, you know what I mean? But I was going to just say really quick, if you want to wrap up, was your backyard for your house. So on that YouTube video, I linked the video in the description.
Oh, awesome. So
if you want to check that out, check out the other video we linked on your backyard. It's the craziest thing. Greg linked it to me. He's like, "Did you watch this?" I go, "No, dude. I'm busy, dude." Like just everybody else. He goes, "Dude, you got to check out Chris's backyard." I go, "Okay, I don't know this Chris guy. I don't know, whatever." So after we see this whole thing back here, I'm like, "Holy crap!" He goes, "Yeah, this is a joke. This is like hopscotch for him." I'm like, "What do you mean?" He goes, "Have you seen his backyard?" And I'm like, "No." And when somebody starts talking about somebody like that, I'm like, in my mind, you already went to here, right? Mm-hmm. And now you went like 10 times higher. I got this hand thing going on in person, but I'm like, now it's like 10 times higher. And so your backyard patio. Talk about this thing, dude. It looks like a Disney amusement park extension.
Yeah, so my passion was to try to build something that was even this design here, I love interaction. So my design goal is to force people to be able to get in the water, utilize it. My kids grew up in our smaller, what we had called just a rec pond originally, 4 foot deep. About the size of a swimming pool, but it wasn't really designed for swimming.
Okay.
And they were little at the time.
Sure.
So 4 foot was perfect. I had a little beach entrance. As they got bigger, they kept jumping in the water. And I'm like, you're going to hit the boulders and hurt yourself. And I'm still a kid at heart. Yeah. I wanted to do something cool. So I designed this monster. It's like 120 by 65 foot wide and long, 8 foot deep. I literally, like when we go out on vacation, we go to this little lake in southern Missouri where the kids love to jump off the cliffs.
Yeah.
So I'm like, why don't I do that in the backyard?
Yeah.
We brought in these 8, 9, 10 ton big massive boulders and literally made a cliff so that you could jump off into the deep section and just swim around and have a good time. We got tons of waterfalls and all different types of streams, crossings. So it's very interactive where you walk around and you're experiencing the space from different angles. And then the same thing here with the man cave at the back.
Yep.
I'm going to eventually do a pool house.
You were talking about that.
Shed back on the back. So
it's crazy.
It's just, the relaxation around these features, creating that outdoor living space where people can just get together and chill. Yeah. That's what this is all about. That's the lifestyle.
Well, we were talking to somebody and they said when, I think it was Brian yesterday morning, I was talking to him. He goes, when I wake up at 5:30 or 6, he gets his coffee, he goes on his back patio and there's his pond, his backyard water feature and whatnot. He goes, when I, get home at 5, 6 o'clock, I don't even walk into the house. I walk out of the back and I'm, drinking a cold one or whatever he's doing. And he's hanging out in his pond. He's hanging out in his water features out there. And he goes, it's just relaxing. I want to be out by water. And there's just something about the spirit that wants to be outside. It just wants to be by the water. And I think you have a great example of that with your pond. One thing I got to say too, little plus one, is the lighting and the ambiance that you put in there. Yeah. It's get the underground water lights and all this crazy stuff. Dude, it's ridiculous. If you guys haven't seen the video, check it out on YouTube. One last plug. It's the Chris Siewing, $250,000 backyard install that we did here at Aquascape. But check that video description because we'll link that video for your backyard. And that was one of the videos that Greg Whitsock did with Team Aquascape, and they did just a whole video on just your backyard patio alone. Yeah. It's crazy. Absolutely crazy. So, well, hey, let's do this really quick. Let's button it up. Where can they find you? And then I always like to do this, open mic. Any practical advice or words of wisdom or something that you wanted to tell the Chris, Siewing of 20 years ago that could have changed everything? That's something I always like to ask my guests if they, are new to the show.
Let's see.
You have this deep esoteric thought.
We don't have our YouTube channel yet. I'm a little behind the 8 ball on that. You can find us on Facebook. Our company is Natures with *S Recreations.
Natures Recreations.
We got a website that's out of date, unfortunately, too. But our Facebook is definitely more up to date. I do a lot of live stuff. I've live vlogged some of these.
Yeah.
It's just easier for me. But
Instagram.
Getting on there. I don't have that locked in yet. But the thing that I would suggest to any potential contractor out there is find somebody that you can mentor, someone smarter than you, that's better at what you do. If you want to get better at whatever you're trying to do, find the person that is doing it the best in that part of, the industry, whatever it may be.
Yeah.
Shadow them, talk to them. I guarantee if they're successful, they started off probably where you're at now.
Yeah.
And they would love to share the information and get you up to speed to make you a success just like they are.
Amen. So find somebody who's got in life what you want and ask them for help.
Emulate it. If they're doing it right, why wouldn't you do the same thing?
Amen. Stop recreating the wheel, right?
There's plenty of them out there. We don't need another one.
Amen to that. No, great advice, man. Well, let's do this real quick. We'll button it up. Super appreciate you being on the show. Thanks for letting me film your whole project back here.
Sure.
Absolutely awesome. You guys got to go check it out on YouTube and show Chris some love. But we'll have to do like another podcast recap. Maybe we'll catch up with you later this fall or something like that.
Absolutely.
See how your season's going.
If you ever get down to St. Louis, come by. We'll take a swim.
Absolutely, man. Well, your backyard is literally nuts. Greg was showing me photos and videos, like I said, and I'm like, dude, it literally looks like the Animal Kingdom at Disney.
Yeah, it's pretty crazy. There's 350 tons of boulders in the feature alone.
Is that right?
Yeah.
And what we're describing to like lawn care guys and landscaper guys, there's no context. It's impossible to visualize it. So anyway, check it all out on YouTube. But hey, Chris, thanks so much for being on the show, brother. We appreciate the time.
Thanks for having me. Appreciate it.
You bet, bud. All right, guys. Well, let's do this. We'll kick it back over to Marty, Mr. Producer, to wrap this thing up and to give you guys the rest of the show announcements and updates. But guys, thanks so much for listening to this episode of Fullerton Unfiltered. We'll catch up with you guys here on the next one.
We all know that slick Continental dude, the backslapping sales guy that can sell ice to the Eskimos and make it look easy in the process. But what if you are not that dude? What if you don't have a background in sales and don't know those perfect power phrases or the right line to close a customer and win the bid for an upcoming job? We totally understand where you're coming from, and with our new How to Sell Customers and Close Jobs training program, those concerns, well, they can be a thing of the past. We're going to help you learn the 4 steps to the sales process, how to handle objections, how to handle pushback from customers on bids and quotes, and power phrases that Brian has tested in the field over the last 10 years. Just imagine the confidence you're going to have when your future customers say your prices are too high, or I know a guy that will do it for less, or I'm not sure, I'll have to talk to my spouse about it first, because you're now going to be equipped to turn excuses into sealing the deal. This program is going to help you become a better salesman, learn how to help people get what they want, and allow you to close more jobs and grow your company. Overcome your fear of selling with this new How to Sell Customers and Close Jobs training program. It's yours for only $49, and it's available exclusively at LawntrepreneurAcademy.com. Ballard Innovative Products is a full line of gear for the lawn and landscape professional. From mower gear, safety gear, trailer racks, equipment securement, equipment servicing tools, aerators, mower blades, X-blades, aluminum baggers, and much more to make you efficient, effective, safe, and profitable in the field. Check out Ballard-Inc.com to help dominate and elevate your business. Ballard Innovative Products. With over 20 years of selling accessories and 30 years in the business, we're sure that we've got something you can't live without. We appreciate the support and look forward to serving you this season. Stay safe and keep grinding, friends. And don't forget to use Brian's 10 to save 10% at Ballard-Inc.com.
Thanks for taking the time to listen to the Fullerton Unfiltered podcast with Brian Fullerton. We hope you enjoyed this production. If so, please consider leaving us a 5-star review for the show. While the techniques and ideas presented here are designed to help you grow a more successful and profitable business, no one can guarantee these results for you. We want to emphasize that entrepreneurship is not easy, and the ideas presented here are just the opinions of Brian Fullerton and his respective guests. No one can guarantee success for you. That being said, we hope the ideas presented here help you and motivate you to go on out there and crush it with your own business.
Fullerton Unfiltered Podcast.
Thanks for listening, and we hope to see you on the next episode.
This has been a Brian Fullerton and Mr. Producer production.